I have to be Thor?
You gotta be Thor.
You're Thor.
Nope, you're Thor.
You know, I wanted to be a Valkyrie when I was younger, until I found out you were all women. Oh, there's nothing wrong with women, of course. I like women, sometimes a little too much. Not in a creepy way, just more like a respectful appreciation. I think it's great. An elite force of women warriors. About time.
Very good. Very good.
I accidentally started crawling into Australian a little bit.
That's Australia?
No. No.
Oh man, that's good stuff right there. Yeah, I'm terrible at accents too, so I was like, Jess is gonna be Thor.
I'm sorry, I'm not terrible at accents. I've just like got no run up into them. You know, I used to be.
Shot and chaser, everybody.
Welcome to Podcast of the Rings. Did you see that someone that found our poll on YouTube was ashamed that we didn't put The Hobbit and Lord of the Rings in the best movies of votable categories for the Cate Blanchett?
I feel like that's why I try to use Beyond Middle Earth anytime I post, because like obviously
it needs to be said.
Those 6 movies are gonna be in the running. But yeah, the whole point of this, and that's okay if you just see.
I'm not shaming that person.
No,
we're just confused.
They just scroll by and see a random poll like, "Oh, Cate Blanchett's best movies," and those options aren't there. I also would have said something. I remember I asked like I think it was Adam Hlavik actually, where he was like, "Oh, you know, they did the like for this option, retweet for this option," and I responded, "Yeah, I didn't know them at the time." I was like, "Why didn't you guys just use the poll option?" He's like, and he DM'd me. And he was
he did not. He did not.
I can't remember if he DM'd me or just responded. He was like, "It's for engagement." I was like, "Okay." Like, I mean, yeah. I didn't know that. Like, I didn't know metrics at the time and what push. Like, obviously, you want retweets on a post, and I always hated those things just because obviously the likes are always gonna win every time because people.
Is that what you think?
Absolutely.
Yeah. Well, also retweets. When Twitter was a golden age, retweets didn't really work that well for engagement regardless. So, like, sure, it got some of your stuff onto other people's feed, kind of, but it really only works if you're like Mark Hamill, you know?
Yeah.
Like, most people aren't going to look at our retweeted stuff and go, I need to see what they do, you know? But you're totally right. Ultimately, if your thing gets a lot of likes, that's... Although I will say, I do have one banger tweet that I made years ago.
Oh.
That still gets likes and retweets to this day. And I can't take credit. It was me. I found a video. It was one of the best videos from TikTok I've ever seen where the guy's like, "Today is Star Wars Day, and this is my girlfriend." And it looks like he's holding her.
Yeah.
Okay, I tweeted it. I did the thing where I took the video from somebody else, tweeted it, and said, "Stop TikToking. The peak has been reached." And I think because Danny Fernandez retweeted it, it just took off.
What's it at?
It's let me just take a look because I bet you someone has liked it within the last 10 hours. When it was happening, I was so excited, but at the same time, I was like, "This is so unearned."
That's how TikTok is too. Like, you know, I'll like, you know, put like a thoughtful like 2-minute video about something, you know, 10 likes, and then I think I read, you know. Stitched something about that actor Katie O'Brien, and you'd know her. She's like real muscly. She's very beautiful, and it's literally just like a thing on the red carpet where a guy's going to interview her, and she like takes the mic like jokingly, and you see her biceps. And I was like, "That's Abby from The Last of Us." Like,
I remember that. Yeah.
And I was at a fandom gig, like doing a PA work, and I was like, "Oh. That's got 50 likes." And then I opened it again and it was like 99 notifications. And I was like, "What?" And then it just like, I was like, "Oh my gosh."
Broke.
Yeah, something broke. I was like, "Oh my gosh, this has 10,000 views." And it ended up at like 1.5 million. And I was like, "What just happened?"
But also you were engaged, like it was actually your content engaging with other content. There was a time I think on TikTok where if you stitched something, it didn't count as like earnable income.
No,
too.
yeah. You can't stitch anything and like make it onto whatever
Wild.
monetary thing like the TikTok partner program or whatever. Even though those guys make pennies, it's
So
crazy.
the post activity is 29 million impressions.
Good Lord.
Yeah, 27,000 profile visits, and like unique views is 5 million. Something like 17,000 bookmarks, 391,000 likes, 10,000 quotes. And
Oh my God, 391,000 likes? That's insane.
It's insane. And 78,000 reposts.
See, right there, you missed your calling of just being a clipper on Twitter. Like,
I
that's
know,
what
I
all
can't
those,
do
like,
it,
clip
though.
things are. Like, you should have just, like, gone down that path and created another change your profile picture.
Oh.
Like, just done it from there. Because I'm sure you got a lot of follows from it or something.
It says only 31. Which
Oh,
is
okay.
No, but if I had kept up that
That's
and
the
became
thing,
the
yeah.
source of that. But really, it was just the timing. That video made me laugh so hard that it came
it's
out
so good.
organically.
Yeah.
And I just don't want to spend all day just click, 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 you know. But anyway, I don't know what my point in bringing that up was. It just was like, it was even now. Anyway, I can't continue. I think we should do this really quick though. I think we should do tarot and then talk about Cate Blanchett's Thor.
Okay.
You don't want to.
I don't know. I'm so uninto tarot and astrology and all that. We
But
could
this
do
is
it.
the podcast of the Rings tarot. What if we pull Galadriel? You know what I mean? Like,
Let's do it. So how do I do it?
We do that. We've done this before.
We haven't done it in like 3 months.
This is fine, but I have it in front of me to remind me, and I forget, and now I've remembered. So
Some good
also,
ASMR for the
can you hear
shuffling, yeah.
Also, the back of the cards, it looks like a Hobbit door, but also looks like the Eye of Sauron, which
Yeah.
is pretty cool. So I'm going to shuffle, and in a second, I'm going to ask you when to tell me stop, and then
Okay.
the card that we land on is the card we're going to pull.
Oh, dang.
I was on the
Tom
phone
Cruise
with
just drove by?
I was on the phone with my phone, who was driving down the 101, and I heard the motorcycle going over 100 past her. It was actually the
Whoa.
scariest thing.
Those little electric bikes that have become super popular, like, people are like going 20 miles an hour on the sidewalk on those things, dude. It's crazy.
You're old when we start having these conversations.
right.
Do you know what I mean? Like, they shouldn't be on the sidewalk these
They
days.
shouldn't. There's a
They
bike
shouldn't.
lane. Like,
You'll kill people. It's true. All right, I'm gonna start pulling, and I'm gonna go through the cards. And you're gonna tell me when to stop.
stop.
All right. And now it's either reversed or upright. It is the Four of Cups upright. So
4 of Cups. So they're at the Prancing Pony.
okay. So for all of you YouTubies, Four of Cups
Yeah.
upright. I do want to have only these
This
kind
is
of
a pint.
They come in pints. I only want to own that kind of cupware in my life. All right, the Four of Cups. You may feel like a shield maiden presented with the opportunities of a dry nurse. Okay, so basically it's Eowyn, I think.
Okay.
Uninspired, disconnected, and ill-suited for the prospects ahead of you. The Four of Cups encourages you to wait. Don't settle for something you don't love. Allow your heart, your dreams, and your instincts of what's best for you to be your guiding light.
Okay.
I kind of like that.
Yeah.
Galadriel gives the light of Elendil. Is that Elendil? No.
Edendil.
No. Edendil?
It's like, isn't it spelled like ear and deal? Isn't it spelled like that?
Well, it's Elrond's dad, and I have no idea. So, Elendil. Elon 2028.
The light of Edendils. Yes. Ear. E-A-R.
Erendir.
I'm saying it correctly.
Okay.
E-A-R-E-N-D-I-L.
Erendil.
Okay.
I'm trying to learn how. to say it. I'm not trying to roast you. I swear to God.
The one time I say Lord of the Rings thing correctly,
I just don't think you are.
What? You know what? Let's pause and go watch the clip right now.
Let's have everyone watch the clip.
Let's watch
with
it.
us.
You know what? Everyone, stop what you're doing. If you're in traffic, take your phone out and pull up YouTube and look away from the road.
Aaron, Ear and Dell.
Yes, that's what she
Erindale.
says. That's what Cate Blanchett says in the movie. Here's the light of Erindale, Frodo. My shucks.
Where is it?
Go to the gifts of Galadriel, and Lothlorien.
There it is. Okay. Oh yeah. Erendil.
Literally what I said.
Erendil.
Erindale. And we're back, everybody. We're here to talk about Thor Ragnarok, I think.
Fuck. I think we said last week was going to be our last episode. I think it's today.
I think it's going to be today.
The countdown
That's
to
what
the...
gets people to come back. Every episode could be our last.
It's true. We're excellent.
Like, I'm rewatching The Newsroom, and I'm such a sucker for Aaron Sorkin dialogue.
Sure.
I can forgive that everybody's the smartest person and knows everything about everything. But man, some of the interpersonal stuff, like if you've seen The Newsroom, the Maggie and Jim stuff of like the will they, won't they, it's the worst.
Is it? I loved that show.
Rewatch it. It's so bad. It doesn't hold up. Like, I still like the show. It's very well acted. I like the first season is one of my favorite seasons of television of all time. This is the second one kind of falls off.
I can't believe this.
Watch it again. It's not good.
This is upsetting.
Yeah, it's tough. But that just is what I'm saying. Is that like, will they, won't they in the podcast? We're like Jim and Pam. If they just like, if Jim just like constantly quit.
You asked to be on this show, bro.
I begged actually to be on this show.
Someone's gonna do a whole dissertation thesis on this and who's abused who the most. Okay, yes, we are here to talk about Thor Ragnarok. This is Cate Blanchett's turn to be the Beyond Middle Earth Bay. And boy, is this a good fucking movie.
It is a good movie. I was hoping I'd never seen Carol. I've never seen the other three options, honestly. Steve Zissou is one of the few. I think Steve Zissou and the newest one, Asteroid City, are the only two Wes Anderson films I haven't seen. So I need to watch those because I'm a big Wes Anderson guy. And then I haven't seen Carol, and I haven't seen, like, I'm glad we didn't watch Benjamin Button because it's 3 hours long, but I still do eventually want to find some time to sit down and watch David Fincher's movie because I like David Fincher.
It's one of those movies you have to watch.
Yeah.
You just have to have it in the back of your brain. And there are some I saw it in the theater. I don't remember half of the things that happened except for some stuff that's like reclipped on YouTube and stuff. It's what?
I see the ear of a big boy. I see the ear of a big boy.
He's a big boy. Carol, I didn't even know existed. And I just recently watched Steve Zissou, and it's so good.
People look down on that one for some reason. I don't know why, but that's like one of his. I just listened to a podcast about Grand Budapest, and that's like his kind of peak. But people look down on Steve Zissou, but there's still like a lot of fans of that movie.
Yeah. So like I'm like you. I like Wes Anderson as an auteur in general, and I got like on the Wes Anderson kick after watching all of his Roald Dahl short stories that he won the Oscar for.
Oh, I need to watch those too. Okay,
you do, because that's actually if this man peaked with Budapest, he also peaked with Royal Tenenbaums. He also peaked with these Roald Dahl stories. He's like constantly refining his vision.
Oh yeah,
if that makes sense.
Fantastic Mr. Fox is like one of my desert island movies.
So I had never watched it until I did so that's why I rewatched. I went through Rushmore. I had never seen Bottle Rockets. I know we're here to talk about Cate Blanchett, but I watched Fantastic Mr. Fox, and that's delightful.
Oh, it's comfort
so
movie
good.
For having a bad day. It's on Disney Plus. It's 85 minutes long. Like it's nothing.
So good.
Like I remember reading the book as a kid. I was like, oh, it's a fun story. And then what Wes Anderson did with it, making like George Clooney and Meryl Streep, like they all wear clothes and they all have like a neighborhood watch, and like he goes to his realtor to buy the tree, and that's Bill Murray. It's so good. It's so good.
Delightful. And Steve Zissou is just tonally maybe a little more like, holy shit, people are dying.
I remember the end. Like, I feel like I've seen, it's one of those movies where
wild.
The ending is one of the most insane things, and like you see, it's like the Royal Tenenbaums like bathtub scene where it's Wes Anderson's got some darkness in him, and just like I remember, like I'm not trying to spoil anything, but just like how they're in the water and you slowly see the water turn red, and I'm just like, oh. Yeah. Especially because like it's such a goofy movie, like you think, oh yeah, they're fine. They're just kind of floating there, and then you're like, oh no, this is bad. And
this is very bad.
It's such a good ending.
Yeah, I actually just got chills thinking about it. Actually, when you watch the Roald Dahl short story adaptations, it will make sense why he has these high stake situations happen all of a sudden, because you're reading Roald Dahl, it's like, oh crap, that's heavy. It's like the darkness to it that really kind of gets omitted. It's played off in like the original Willy Wonka movie, right? Like he's killing kids.
Oh yeah, like I mean the ferry scene, where like you're like on an acid trip and he's like, we don't know where we're going and we show no signs of slowing.
Perfect segue, because they use that.
They literally use that in this,
which I love that. Listen, here's what I think that Thor does right. It's not afraid to make fun of itself, because the first two movies I don't hate, and I like Jane, and I can see the complaints that Natalie Portman had, where that she just was like fodder for him, you know? And that's why she did come back, because she got to have a storyline this time, and her life and her meaning was impactful. I thought the last movie wasn't that bad.
What?
Personally. What?
You liked Love and Thunder?
I did.
Okay.
I enjoyed it. I thought there were like, maybe the pacing was off a little bit, but I like a good love story, and I like her, and I like him. There's no better. What else do you want from a movie? Really, I liked it. I thought it was also good repercussions for what they've been through up to this point too. I don't know. I'll have to rewatch it, but I did enjoy it. I thought the ending was a little weird, but like the post-credit scene, like, oh, now he just is a child, Like,
oh yeah, and he calls her love, or does he say with thunder?
I don't. I have to rewatch it.
Yeah.
I remember enjoying it. I'm less of a critic of these movies than most people tend to be. I found some parts of the Eternals redemptive.
I love the Eternals.
Did
honestly.
you?
I did.
Why? A lot of people don't feel that way, right?
I think it's so weird because like there's so many, watching like the Acolyte or Obi-Wan or even like Miss Marvel and stuff like that. There's a lot of things that I'm just like, oh, this could have been a movie, and it's very stretched out, even like in 6 episodes. And I think maybe Eternals could have been a series, because we have so many characters, we have so many people to introduce like from scratch, that I would have loved like 2 episodes in Babylon. Fucking do it. Like,
totally.
Let me get more fighting the demons or whatever they're called. Like, because that shit was insane.
I'd watch Kumail be in every era of his life doing Bollywood.
This man did the Marvel workout, and he's the only guy that didn't get a shirtless scene. Like,
maybe he didn't want one though.
He posted the pics on Twitter.
Did he?
Yeah. He went from a little nerd on Silicon Valley cracking jokes with Martin Starr to the buffest dude on the set. And I was just like, wow. Okay, I was waiting for his, even fucking, what's his name? Ant-Man got one. Like,
yeah, right.
Like, and then you see Chris Hemsworth just insane in this movie. Like, just ridiculous.
I think about something Chris Pratt said about the second to last Game of Thrones. Guardians.
Oh my God. Let me travel till the multiverse where Chris Pratt. Where do you put Chris Pratt in Game of Thrones? Of everything, everybody. Joffrey. Okay.
No, who is he? Because I'm only half.
I think he'd be Gendry.
Which one's Gendry? The one that protects
the
Tyrion?
Little blacksmith boy.
Oh.
I could see him as Bronn too. I could see him as Bronn.
He's got it. No, you know what? I think No, I don't know. I don't know.
It's a tough casting.
It's a tough cast. But he's there.
He's,
Do you know what I mean?
there for sure.
He really is there. And I really want to see it now that we're talking about it. In Guardians, he said that the shirtless scene he did was so unimportant to the story, as opposed to Yondu's shows his vulnerability. It was used really meaningful. And he still looked good, and he's an older man, but he's like post, with the sex worker bot or whatever. And I think about that too. Did you need to have your shirt off, homie? And in this Thor scene, it works.
Yeah.
Even though he's ripped, and sure, he's trying, like, he didn't have any water that day, poor guy. But like, it works.
Didn't have water for that week. And I've always said that, like, Chris Hemsworth has like the hardest job probably physically of any Avenger, because no matter what, he's sleeveless. No matter what his costume is.
Totally.
Like, Captain America gets to put on the suit, Ant-Man, Iron Man, everybody. I'm sure Scarlett Johansson's probably not eating well, getting into that, that black leotard, but like having your arms constantly just be flexed out, like when he's trying to call back the hammer, his tricep is about to burst out of his arm. It's insane.
And you have to have that. I totally understand why. Because he's the God of Thunder. The God of Thunder would be ripped. And that's also why I love seeing him. Let's think about what happens to him in this movie. And they joke about it, but he loses his hammer, he loses his father, and he loses
His eye.
His eye, and he loses his home.
Yep.
This is beyond situational depression now. Like, you can be depressed about one of those things and take some time to recover. If you have compound situational depression, you get the Thor that you see in Infinity War. You really do.
And that's the thing. I think that's a big thing of why people didn't like Love and Thunder, was because he has like the best moment in Infinity War, both coming into Wakanda, which, bring me Thanos. Just, oh my God, the cheer that everyone let out in the theater. We used to be a country, Jessica.
I really need someone to do a hyper edit of that, because it's my favorite thing you bring to the podcast.
And then the scene with Rocket where he's just like, well, can it get any worse? Like, he's going to face Thanos. He already got his ass kicked by him once. And he's like, well, I lost my brother. I lost my sister. I lost my mother. I lost my father. I lost my home planet. I lost my hammer. Like, this guy's at the lowest, and then in Endgame, when he goes, into even more depression, thinking that he was the one that lost the final fight by not going for the head. Like, there's one too many jokes where, like, and there's so many times in Endgame, we're going to talk about Cate Blanchett, but just
Are we? It's okay.
People get so mad about quote unquote fat Thor and like all the jokes they make, and I'm just like, there is one too many jokes, especially when he goes to put on the gauntlet and he's like, do you know what I have running through my veins? And War Machine says, Cheese Whiz. That's the Marvel that I don't like, where it's like, no, let them be in this moment. Like,
yeah, totally.
Let them like live where he's trying so hard to make up for what he feels he's responsible for. Cause like, Rocket slaps him. His mom's like, don't worry, everything's gonna be okay. You're worthy. And like, but even then, like, he's still not there. He's still like, cause depression doesn't happen. Cures don't happen overnight. There's not some miracle cure to depression. And so there's such good stuff. And then in Love and Thunder, it's just jokes. There's no stakes, especially when you have Christian Bale coming back to comic book movies. And the opening of the movie is really good, where you're like, oh, he's praying to the god, and the god's like, I don't care. I'll get new followers. And then he kills him. And so you're like, oh man, here we go. And then the rest of the movie is just like, one, terrible CGI, terrible jokes. Like, I'm at that point was already kind of tired of Taika Waititi's humor with, What We Do in the Shadows. I loved this movie. I really liked. And then there was like two other projects where I'm just like, oh, it was, the pirate show that he was on, which is good, but it was just like oversaturation. It's like,
I couldn't finish it. I didn't finish the first season.
Like, it was just too much Taika Waititi-ness. And I mean, that happens with every like comedy writer. Like, what's his name? The super bad guy, the producer. not Lorne Michaels.
Apatow.
Yeah, Apatow. Like it just happens. Like we used to get that kind of stuff too much.
Shout out to my friend Sam Gash, who does a podcast, which you should be on, called Ideal Remake, where you take a show or a movie from your childhood or 10 years ago, 20 years ago, and recast with people now. How would you change it? How would you make it better? And he put a moratorium on recasting the director as Taika Waititi because it's so overplayed at that point. He literally said, by the way, you can't say Taika Waititi can direct this. So
well, I mean, like I remember like when he was at the height of his powers, like I don't know if his Star Wars movie's still in the rotation because I never know what's happening with Star Wars. He's done 2
Kathleen
Thor
Kennedy
movies.
doesn't either. And
I don't know if he's doing another Thor movie. He's had the pirate show. He's still like writing and producing What We Do in the Shadows. Like he's still obviously voicing a bunch of stuff. Like was literally everywhere. And so like I understand why, just oversaturation of the guy. He's very talented. He's very funny. But just like this was the peak of like, this is so good, of like great self-referential Thor humor. It kind of comes out of nowhere, but that's okay. But then you do have the great, like you have Cate Blanchett to balance that out. With just like how serious and like all the metaphors about colonialism and just like, oh, where do you think all this gold came from? Like, she tears down the murals and she's like, no, this is what, like, you pretend that what Asgard is now, everyone, it is funny to see like all these godlike people being so soft and like, oh no. And it's like, yeah, we used to, Cate Blanchett literally says we used to be a country. like everybody like Scourge literally has AR-15s like wow, look at my stuff.
It's so true. I love though that we have Carl Urban and Cate Blanchett, both of our Lord of the Rings babies.
Yes.
I will say, because I first of all, just before I gloss over everything you said, I actually am in agreement with you. This movie takes itself seriously while also poking fun at it and giving you like some moments. I think we did gloss over like the serious loss Thor goes through though. And I think they sort of dealt with it in Endgame to the point where I thought maybe Love and Thunder can just be fun. That's where I was with it. I saw they dealt with his depression.
I think if the jokes of Love and Thunder landed better for me, I would have been fine with it. But I'm not saying it's not tough to do, but the balance of like joke. Natalie Portman has cancer. Joke.
Sure.
Christian Bale being like the darkest villain ever. Joke. Terrible CGI. Joke. Oh, and we have an ending that makes you think you want to cry. It's like, wait, what?
Totally. I hear that. That's very fair.
Once the goat started screaming, I was out.
Oh, I
was like, this is a fucking 2015 Taylor Swift trouble joke. Are we doing this right now? Like, this is a YouTube video joke. What are we? This is Black Panther being like, what are those? Like, what is happening?
That's fantastic. It's true. I have no follow-up. I have nothing else to say.
And that's the thing, is that I'm like, I never want to go into any movie not liking it, but especially like an MCU, like DC movie. Like, I love comic books and stuff like that. So like, if anybody says they like it, I'm never going to be like, well, you're wrong. I'm jealous. I don't want to sit in 2.5 hours of like not laughing and not enjoying myself. Like, I want to. I wish I did. I want to. Maybe I'll watch it again and have a different opinion.
Speaking of which, we did say we were going to spend a little bit of time because I did start watching all of X-Men because I hadn't up to this point.
Oh my God, guys, I might share the text messages that Jessica was sending me. Like, just should. Questions. Like, I felt bad because it was like a child begging for like answers of like, it felt like, what was it, Macaulay Culkin and Uncle Buck? Just like, what's your record of questions here? Oh, 37. But it was more desperate. The desperation where Jessica has fallen in love with these X-Men movies, and then she got to X-Men Origins Wolverine. And
I skipped it because Alex didn't want to watch it.
Yeah.
And then I had questions because he conflated Wolverine and Origins Wolverine as like the same movie and realized he didn't see that. I didn't know I needed to watch the Wolverine when he goes to Japan in order to understand why Professor X is alive in Days of Future Past. Even though they don't explain it. They don't explain it, which is fine. It's comics. But for me, it just went from he's been blipped, which, by the way, it looks like he's been blipped.
It does.
By Jean Grey.
Jane Green.
Jean Green.
It's Jane Green.
Jessica Green Verdi. And then he's in Days of Future Past, which is phenomenal, by the way. It's so good. There's still it's a quickly edited movie, Days of Future Past. It's like boom, 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 boom. But there's so much to cover that I sort of understand why. Let's just put it this way, Ben. I went into it hoping everyone else was wrong.
No. Jessica, we got a pirated copy in college that we had like a movie night, and it was like pre-visual effects done. So like there's some really funny, if you can find it, there's some really funny cuts. Like when he gets hit by a car, it'll suddenly like go to like a VFX pre-render of like a dummy rolling across the thing, and it's hilarious. And so we watched it. And then when it came out in theaters, I went to go see it because I was like, well, I have to go see this movie to support it because I got a pirated copy. And I was like, did they finish the VFX? Like, this isn't much better. Like, it was.
So you're talking about the helicopter where it looks like the dummy is still in the helicopter when it's rolling? Because that's what it looks like.
No,
Ben.
like I'm telling, like everyone knows what I'm talking about in this. It was insane. Like that this movie got released like this. And I know these visual effects artists are overworked and underpaid, but like the fact that they didn't just be like, you know what? We've got a pretty guaranteed property here. People are at least going to show up opening weekend to see Hugh Jackman become the Wolverine. Because this was like the beginning of like, we're going to do, this is where the Gambit movie was going to come in, his origin story. We're going to do origin stories for these X-Men movies. And then they just released it. And it's like the beginning is so cool too, with like him and Liv Schreiber going through all the wars and everything. And you see like Liv Schreiber slowly devolving into like this violent madness. And then it's just done. Then just turn the movie off. One of the best YouTube clips out there, just to watch that, and then just don't worry about the rest. But Jessica, like, we'll say your first text was, why wasn't this movie on Dominic Monaghan's options? And I was like, just you fucking wait.
Also, killed immediately.
Immediately!
Like, they hint at some, like, attraction between him and the girl when she tries to turn off the light, and then he's killed by Liv Schreiber.
Then he's just dead.
So, my favorite response of Ben's was, there's Wade. Because I was like, wait, who is... Because they don't ever say Deadpool. They don't ever say Wade. Like, they don't ever say who Ryan Reynolds is. I'm shocked.
I think they call him Wade, but that's about it.
Yeah, but I don't know who that fucking is because I haven't seen the Deadpool movies. And so I just... Also, will.i.am being cast is just such horrible stunt casting.
We killed our own kind, Logan.
And the scene between them when they're talking, he's like, don't ask me. Well, what is it? Okay, I'll tell you. Like,
no, it's some tough acting by will.i.am,
Ben's response, though, I was like, oh, there's Wade. And Ben's like, yeah, with no mouth. Perfect use of Deadpool.
Yep.
Anyway, it's so bad. It's so bad. And the Wolverine isn't much better. He should have just turned around and left.
Wolverine's got major third act problems for sure, but I really like the first two. I love the first two.
But there's like so many things like you don't know. Is she sucked the power from him?
Oh God, the Copperhead actress, I think top 5 worst actors of all time.
And I can tell you right now, the entirety of her dialogue is VR.
Yeah,
is ADR 100%, which also makes it this weird uncanny valley thing.
Yeah.
And then by the time she's taking off the skin, I'm out. Like, the thing is, you just don't know what's going on, and you think you know, and it's not like it's not like Knives Out,
Yeah, it's not a mystery, yeah.
But they're trying to do a noir thing, and it fails. They also set up the redheaded Asian woman to be the lead, and then she's gone for the entire half of the movie. It's fine. Whatever. I like most of it. There we go. Thor is great. Cate Blanchett is so badass in this movie.
She's so, like, I remember seeing this trailer. When this trailer came out, and she comes through the portal, and then catches that hammer. Like, in the trailer, she catches the hammer and breaks it, and then the fucking Led Zeppelin song kicks in. Like, oh my God.
That's in the trailer.
In the trailer, it kicks in, and then you see him go to Scar. Like, this trailer was top 5. Like, I didn't, in the same way, like this one and then the 2 Black Panther teaser trailers are like top 3 teaser trailers of all time.
Wow.
Because like Black Panther had like, it just like everyone was waiting for it, and it was just like the coolest thing ever. And then Black Panther Wakanda Forever, obviously with Chadwick gone. And then it had the We Gon' Be Alright by Kendrick Lamar. And oh my, like I remember I watched that trailer like at least 100 times the first day it came out.
Did you really?
Like,
wow.
That trailer changed my life. But this one was up there because, like, you know, people, it wasn't like stale yet. We're not in the place we are now with Marvel, but everyone was just like, okay, what do you got? Like, we know we're getting Thanos here soon, but like, you know, especially because what Dark Shadows or whatever it's called, the Dark Elves, the second Thor movie. I can't think of what it's called for some reason.
Oh, sure. Blood and Stone. I don't know.
Yeah, I should know this, but it definitely looked at as the worst MCU movie. Like, it is.
Yeah, I don't know if I agree, but I can see why people feel that way. I think that's why I say it's nice to have
the Dark World.
It's not literally they try to take itself too seriously.
Yes, because I am a fan of the first Thor movie. I love the Dutch angles. I love that they like are on a budget, and Kenneth Branagh was like, "Let's fucking go, dude."
I like Kenneth Branagh. He's got some issues, but like he can direct a movie.
He can. Go watch the new I still haven't seen the last Poirot movie. But the reason we have Knives Out is because like Kenneth Branagh made the new Poirot movies, and it was like,
I would agree with that.
Like
I think that's right.
$400 million. It was crazy.
But the one he did that went straight to Hulu was not good something. Right?
By the way, talk about the most problematic cast ever by the time it came out. It was insane.
Really?
Yeah, it was bad.
That's amazing.
It's pretty funny. But yeah, so especially after like Dark World, everyone's like, dude, another Thor movie? Okay.
Yeah.
And so when that trailer dropped, it was so great. And Cate Blanchett just like completely owns it. And every time she like slicks her hair back and puts the helmet on, I
remember
the
they
hottest
had
thing
to design it so it wasn't going to crush her neck. That thing, because she did wear it practically.
Did she?
The helmet? Yeah. I think there's moments where it's CGI, but there's actual times where it's real.
Ooh, okay.
But they designed it like lightweight stuff.
Oh yeah, the thing would be insane.
Yeah, but it looks good because it looks real. And Fenring is so. What's his name? The
Fenrir?
dog.
Oh,
Fenrir.
Yeah.
Fenring is from Dune. It's so cool. This is the only plot hole, and I will say this. I'm going to just say this. Idris Elba is so fine. And is so good in this movie, and it's great. He's wonderful. He's the hero of the movie, if you ask me. But why is he bringing them down the Rainbow Bridge? Can't he see that the dog is there?
Yeah,
what's going on there?
His eyesight kind of comes and goes when the plot needs it to, and
I don't like that.
Especially because like they make like the mist, like, oh, it's really foggy now, and it's like, but they have an establishing shot where you can see the portal, like you see all the way down the bridge, and then suddenly you see this 40-foot Tyrannosaurus dog, like, just out there. But yeah.
Best moment of the movie for me, and we'll get to the questions on the other half, is when Thor decides to let go, the Eternal Flame suitor, whatever his name is taken over, and Hulk comes back up for air after fighting the dog, and then goes to immediately fight him. It's so good. It's such a 10 out of 10 joke. It's one of my favorite moments of the whole movie.
Big monster.
Yes, big monster fight is very good. But Cate Blanchett is just something else. And it's just so cool to see her be real evil.
Yeah, just unabashedly evil. And I love it because, like, we got like that Maleficent live action Angelina Jolie movie, and like I feel like we're getting the Mufasa prequel now with like, I guess him and Scar are gonna be buddy until they're not, obviously, and it's just like, let villains be villains, let them just be evil. And like the moment she comes out of the portal and she's like, oh, you don't look like him, oh, you sound like him, now kneel. Like, it's like her third line, kneel. Like, there's no negotiating, there's no quipping, there's nothing. Like, it's just straight domination, and her in that suit with the helmet, woo.
And I really do feel a little bit bad for her, sympathize for her, because and I'm a little mad at Odin. He used her to as a means to an end.
Yep.
And then trapped her. Like, that's kind of evil. It's kind of shitty.
No, it's a good, like, kind of, like, it's almost like Christopher Columbus, you know, like, we grew up like, oh, he founded America, and it's like, oh, no, he didn't, and then everything else he did is real bad too. And I do
we just
like...
lost followers, by the way.
Oh no, big Columbus heads in our subscriber base here. Podcast of the Columbus, right? Coming soon to you.
1942.
Yeah.
That's when we were established too.
But yeah, and it is. I love, you know, they do it like in a very Marvel way where they, you know, very fast. Okay, let's get through this. But it's a cool little aspect of it of like, yeah, Asgard did have to conquer the 9 realms to be the ruler of them. And how did they do it? They did it with a giant wolf and a big knife lady. And then when she was like, you know, getting those steamboats going, he was like, oh no, I think we're good. Like he's just like, okay, granted, she is the goddess of death, and you can play her. Me, Andy Campbell, and Janelle Santa Cruz, we playing that Marvel Rivals game, and you can be Hela, and she's just as hot in the video game, and she's like throwing knives and everything. It's very, very fun.
Sounds great to me.
It is no complaints. But yeah, I love her character. There's not much like of an arc to it, but I love, you know, everything she says and like everything that she went through. And, you know, even like they all say it to each other, just like, oh, you thought you were, like Loki says to Thor, oh, you thought you were the chosen one, and our dad lied to us. Oh, Hela, you thought you were the chosen one, and your dad lied to you. Oh, Loki, you thought you were going to be the chosen one, and you're like, Odin kind of fucking sucks. Like,
he sucks a little bit. He sucks a little bit. And to me, this is, you don't need to over-explain why she's the villain, but you've given me enough motivation to understand why everyone's operating in the way that they do.
Yeah.
And I really mourn that this is not the Loki we get in the TV shows, even though they like tried to fast track him having this growth with like seeing the flashbacks of his previous or ulterior whatever other lives. But this Loki really does get it.
yeah.
Like what they all went through and who he fits in and how he fits into this and who, you know, Thor actually is to him. It's just so much better. Actually, I love the opening too, where Anthony Hopkins is just doing his best Loki and like, oh shit.
Yes.
It's just so good. And Matt Damon going
Oh
ham.
god, top like 5 cameos. Him, Sam Neill, and I think that's another Hemsworth that's playing Thor.
Is it?
It's one of the not Liam, but I think there's a third Hemsworth.
Older
brother.
Hemsworth,
Yeah.
the least attractive Hemsworth. Yeah, no,
That
it's
was
I'm
mean.
joking.
That was
It's a joke from The Good Place.
okay.
I'm not. I really didn't mean that.
He's the least famous already. He doesn't need extra.
I really wasn't going there. There's a joke where they make a 4th Hemsworth, and this guy's self-esteem is
I
the
wouldn't be
worst.
surprised if there's one. It's like a Skarsgård, or like they're out there.
They'd be out there. No, but this movie, it's just fun. It's an easy watch, no matter when you're watching it. I can watch it 10 more times. Is it perfect? I don't know. Jeff Goldblum's absolutely flawless, though.
Dude, like, I knew everything going in, and Goldblum is kind of in that almost same Taika Waititi's place where it's like, okay, is this gonna work? Good God. I think I've gone over like, oh, I really liked it. Oh, man, this kind of, I've come back around. This fucking sings so perfectly. It's like, oh, it's like, don't interrupt me. She hands him the stick. He's like, the melt stick? No,
this wasn't a capital offense.
Or like,
he has some morals. You know what I mean? He has like a code he operates.
no, don't say slaves. Say, oh, the woman from Hunt for the Wilder People. She's so funny. She's like in another Taika Waititi movie. What's her name? I'm not gonna find it.
I love him. I love Taika as the Rock. Fuck off, ghost.
Yeah, Rachel House. But yeah,
she's great.
She's so good.
Great. She hates Tessa Thompson for no reason.
No reason. It's like, oh, the prisoners with jobs. Like, it's like, oh, that's better. Like, or just like, oh, I'm thinking of a word. You are the word. Like, or what does she say?
Trash.
Trash. She's like, it doesn't even start with a B. Were you just gonna call her trash no matter what?
Anyway,
Like,
yeah, it's so good. And listen, when I see deliveries like Jeff Goldblum's, I'm really just curious what's on the page because he's just having a blast. He's making it work and it's effortless. And this is the exact right casting for this kind of, portal world that they've gotten spit out to.
And that's
it's so good.
And that's the thing is that I feel like him and Christopher Walken have settled into themselves, like just being themselves. And that's why I feel like that's like the one bad casting, in my opinion, for Dune 2 is Christopher Walken.
Because it's Christopher Walken, it's not the Emperor.
You've made a mistake, Fremen. It's like, oh, what?
You'll need to walk in the desert.
It doesn't take away from the movie for me, but it is like, oh, wow, Princess Irulan? Oh, Christopher Walken.
Yeah, if you had given us Christopher Walken 20 years ago, the impact, I think, might have been different.
For sure.
I could see the choice. I just don't think it landed. It might have for some people. Anyway, are you ready to ask those great Lord of the Rings questions as it pertains to Thor Ragnarok?
I am. Let's do it.
Let's take a break, and I'll see you on the other side. Welcome back. Ben's curated a list of questions for us to answer because Cate Blanchett was in this movie and also Lord of the Rings. Are you ready to ask those questions? Roll that beautiful bean footage. You really still don't know. You still don't know.
What?
Ulrich posted it in our Discord. You have to watch the clip.
Okay, got it.
We talked about this before. You didn't know. Ulrich tried to help you. You didn't listen.
I cannot wait for Ulrich's big corner in every Podcast of Thrones episode. That's all I need. Because I rewatched the first episode. It's going to be out this week sometime. And, God, what a pilot. What a pilot episode.
What a pilot. All right. Ask those questions, baby.
What stands out as the best moment for this actor?
I like when she runs into Scourge and it's like, you seem like a man with good. Oh, actually, when she points at the Tesseract and goes, "That's not bad," and she's
like they kind of retcon because like I remember that everyone was like, "Oh, they've got Thanos' gauntlet in the vault. How are they doing this?" And then she just goes, "Fake."
Which is great.
Yeah.
Yeah, you get all the information you need right there, and she's just having a blast with it.
By the way, I know they're trying to prevent Ragnarok before they realize they have to do Ragnarok. Maybe don't place the Crown of Surtur like 5 feet away from the Eternal Flame.
It's
so
actually
like an intern doesn't actually trip over and like knock it into the Eternal Flame or something like that. I don't know, man.
It's giving Oedipal vibes, right? Like, oh, I'm going to cast my son out so that he doesn't kill me and sleep with his mom. Oh, but because I cast him out, he kills me and sleeps with his mom.
Yeah.
Like, Thor's making it happen by bringing it. Although I will say, that's some sick-ass cosplay if you can make that helmet and sling it like a backpack.
Oh, that would be good, for sure.
Has anyone done that yet?
I'm sure. There's got to be.
I'm going to make it. It's so cool. It's the worst. It's the worst choice you could have ever made on the planet. Just literally throw it in the portal. Like go to the devil's anus.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I'm trying to think. Also when she's just throwing knives after knives after knives, and she like comes back up from the ocean. Like there's some pretty cool things that she does.
Yeah, her superpower is really dope. And then like the whole like Valkyrie, the flashback when he does the memory is awesome. All the Valkyries like flying through like the fire sky and slowly falling is crazy.
It's such a Renaissance painting, the whole thing. And they're like shooting that quickly and it's all strobe lights. But you're right. That like moment is just artistic. It's just gorgeous. Yeah.
It's very well portrayed as like a memory.
Yeah. Yeah. Next question. All right. Do you want to quit?
Oh, sorry. Mine is probably when she comes out of the portal because like even after the trailer, after everything, if you know she's coming, her owning this moment with like the emo hair over one eye and then just like, oh, he's gone. Kneel. Like, oh, it's just so good. And then her smashing the hammer and everything, just amazing.
Oh, when she smashes the hammer, it's almost like you can't believe that just happened.
Yeah.
It's unbelievable. It's unreal.
Especially because, like, even if you haven't watched any, like, say this is your first MCU movie and you know nothing about them, him putting the hammer in the dragon's mouth and it weighing it down is just such a good representation of, like, oh, it is heavy, you cannot lift it unless you are worthy. And it's so good.
Yeah. Yeah, you're totally right. You need that just in case this is your first entry point into it, which it might be.
It might be.
That's a really, really good point.
Who in The Fellowship would you recast for this actor?
Hugo Weaving?
For Cate Blanchett?
You can't
I could see it.
I
could see it.
You know what I mean?
Honestly, I honestly think Christopher Lee would be an insane Hela.
Yes, I was just going to say Andy Serkis, though.
Oh, I like that.
I know it's a woman, ultimately, but he could do something with this, you know?
Honestly, I think Miranda Otto has got that in her, has got like that coldness and power in her.
Sure.
I dabble with it. And again, it comes down to just like, which other woman out of the two in this fucking series can we cast?
Not easy to make. God, it is. And the thing is, this is what's interesting about all three of those women that are the only women in these movies. They all really represent different types of women.
They do.
So that also is what makes it kind of difficult.
Yeah.
And Cate Blanchett is just something else,
we had to do 8 movies for a reason because she's a chameleon in any role she does, and she has a screen presence that probably exceeds anybody else in these movies.
It's true. But Miranda Otto out of the other two is right, I think.
Yeah. Does Peter Jackson directing this movie make it better? No, I think it's too long. Like,
what
this
do you
movie's,
mean? Oh, he would make it too long?
I think he'd make it too long. I think, honestly...
It wouldn't be bad, though.
It wouldn't be bad. I would love just a full Sakaar movie. I'd love to see the Hulk, there's an animated movie I feel like watching. It's called World War Hulk, where you see Hulk go to Sakaar and become the champion.
Oh, how fun.
And there's like a little Easter egg when they show the tower. There's one of the faces that you see. His name is Beta Ray Bill, which he's basically kind of like a horse-faced Thor. He's got his own hammer, and he's in the animated movie, and Beta Ray Bill is awesome. He's a fan favorite, so definitely a solid watch, fun watch.
Yeah, this is new to me. I would check that out. That's reminding me of the tiny Thor in the bottle in Loki when you go underground to the Loki. That always made me feel really sad for the guy. He's just hanging out in a little bottle.
But I you know what? I'd love to watch a Peter Jackson directed Thor movie because I think he'd fully go balls to the wall. I think it'd be closer to the Kenneth Branagh version where there'd be like real sets if you gave him time. Because I know Peter Jackson does love his green screen when rushed, but I think if you gave him time to build the sets, build the armor, give him the room to cook, give him the kitchen, I think it'd be great.
Yeah, because let's not forget that Norse mythology informed a lot of Lord of the Rings. So he would definitely honor the lore.
Like the Rohirrim are basically Norsemen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Truly.
Hence why Carl Urban's in both of these movies.
Is that why?
I don't know, but I'm very...
It works.
Like, they definitely made him not wear a blonde wig because they're like, you can't do that because you look the fucking same.
I didn't even think about that.
Yeah, we're going to put a shaved head and tattoos on you.
You cannot look like that.
Okay, that's more different than Eomer.
That's amazing. I know they did that with David Harbour because he was going to play Russian in the Black Widow movie, and then he was going to be in a Russian prison in Stranger Things. So he was texting the brothers while on set at Black Widow, like, "Hey, they're gonna put me in a long hair and beard, so we can't do that in Stranger Things." So that's why he has a shaved head. Because
it works in Stranger Things too, because like he's got a shaved head and he's super skinny, because like they haven't had him eating anything. So like it works for that. I honestly didn't even think of Stranger Things. Maybe it's just like how I feel about that show when I watched Black Widow, but it didn't really remind me of like he is into Gulag, so it makes sense.
I think that's why though I think he was cognizant of it needed to seem and feel different in both of them.
For sure.
Yeah.
All right. Could the main characters of this movie deliver the ring to Mount Doom?
Yes.
I say no because Loki would steal it.
Actually?
Loki would steal it and give to Sauron and become like and then kill the mouth of Sauron and then become the new mouth of Sauron.
But then he'd like try to actually kill Sauron and then like feel bad about it.
But then he couldn't kill Sauron and then he'd just die. Like, he definitely underestimates Sauron. Because, like, Loki does betray Thor to the Grand Master again, and just Thor
Yeah.
finally learns his lesson to not trust his brother. So like it takes a lot for Loki to learn, like a whole lot for him to learn.
It sure does.
Yeah.
And I think you're right. So that I take my answer back. They don't.
They don't.
Can they actually? Totally. Will they? Loki sucks.
Yeah, Loki sucks. Absolutely. And then what are some other honorable mentions for this actor's best movie for Cate Blanchett?
I liked her in Don't Look Up. She's like a Megan Fox kind of thing. Not Megan Fox. Kellyanne. She's like a bad.
I know who you're talking about. I like from Bombshell, who Charlize plays
Megan Kelly.
Megan Kelly. That's right. Yeah.
She's like one of those, and she like screws over everyone in the. She's just like the perfect talking head. She's really excellent in that. She's at just a youthful adulthood prime in Steve Zissou. I can't call women ripe anymore, but
everybody that's listening just pump their fists in the air.
but she's got like some glow about her because she's actually pregnant in that movie too. She's just gorgeous and super charming in that movie, just chewing bubblegum. And then I'm trying to think.
Tar is really good.
I thought people didn't like that, Ben.
It was nominated. She got nominated for everything. It was
Did
it was
she?
like her
Oh.
and Michelle Yeoh were like the two, like who's gonna win the Oscar.
Got it. And so what movie for you though is
Probably Tar, because I remember, because like I haven't seen Carol, I haven't seen Benjamin Button, I don't remember watching Steve Zissou, I haven't seen Blue Jasmine, like
neither
Nightmare Alley, like I haven't seen a lot of her big ones, honestly. Like for some reason, all these like slipped through the cracks for me. So I love her in Robin Hood. People, the long forgotten Ridley Scott Robin Hood. She's great in that. She's Maid Marian. She has an amazing, like, it's really stupid, but her eyes with the surgical mask is Simon Pegg's girlfriend in Hot Fuzz.
Okay.
But like she
I've
makes
never
it
seen
known.
that either.
Like she like tears off her glasses and like you just see her eyes. I'm like, that's Cate Blanchett, isn't it? And it's
Have fun.
And Peter Jackson is Santa Claus in that movie. If you watch that.
I got to get into that universe eventually. I've seen The Bar at the End of the World, but that's about it. So I got to get in there.
All right. Let's recast Thor Ragnarok with the Fellowship of the Ring.
Shit. I think we have to start with Jeff Goldblum's character. Do we put Ian McKellen there?
I think Ian McKellen's got that. Seeing
He's
the
got
Ricky
it
Gervais
locked.
clip, absolutely, he's got it.
He's got it on lock. He would definitely have very much fun with that. Do you put Miranda Otto as Valkyrie? You have to, right? Or is it?
I put Miranda Otto as Valkyrie.
Because she's got the depth to be like a booze hound, but
Yes.
also like, fighting. I have to say, retroactively watching this movie, they did not need to put any sexual tension between Thor
Yeah,
and
I forgot
it's
about
not
that, honestly. I really
I'm
forgot
glad
about
that they
that.
walked. They left enough in to go. If they want to go this direction, you can. But if you
Yeah.
don't want to, and so I'm glad that they walked away from it. But even when they like jump up, let them be bros. Let them
Yeah.
be bros. Because there is no actual attraction. There is no chemistry except for friendship. So I think you do Miranda Otto as Valkyrie. Who's Banner?
Who's Hulk? I think that... Oh, man. That's tough.
It's a tough one. It really is a tough. You have to do someone who's unassumingly angry.
I think it's Elijah Wood.
Yeah, I think so too.
I think Elijah Wood is Banner. And I'd love to see his CGI Hulk face. I think that'd be great.
It'd be frightening. And he keeps the blue eyes somehow.
Yes. So, yes.
I mean, it could be Circus, but you kind of know Circus is going to go bad,
Exactly. That's the thing. Like, and also Circus in MCU already. So,
It's true.
okay. So Thor. Who's Thor and Loki?
Oh, God, you do have to recast those. I think you have Sean Bean as Loki and Viggo as Thor. I think you have to.
I think that works. I honestly think that works.
I think so.
Yeah.
I mean, I love to think about living in a world where Tom Hiddleston was actually cast as Thor because they both went up for the roles.
Yeah.
And there's screen tests of him doing Thor, which is really weird. And I'm glad we don't live in that world. But I think you have Viggo as Thor. Ugh, I don't love it.
But see, it makes the case of like, we talked about Hugh Jackman in like the 2000 movie, like how not buff he is. And like Viggo's not buff as Aragorn. So I'd love to like see them switch. Like Chris Hemsworth not buff as Aragorn, and then Viggo Mortensen ripped out of his fucking skull for Thor.
Like have you seen the new things that they talk about the bodybuilder guys where it looks like there's just a small guy in them? It's very good. Did you want to have an opinion, Blue?
Oh, it's a big blue boy.
Did you want to have an opinion? He always knows when we're winding down.
Okay, so we've got Loki, we've got Thor. Okay, so we've got Frodo. So we need the rest of the hobbits.
Yeah.
So I think Sam is Heimdall.
Really?
I do.
Wait, no, you don't think it's like Legolas or something?
No, Legolas. Oh, who is? Man, Legolas might be Valkyrie, honestly. But
I guess that kind of also does track just for like the skill. Orlando Bloom, though.
No, Sean Astin is Korg. Sean Astin's Korg.
Yes, Sean Astin is.
So
Korg.
yeah, so Orlando Bloom is Heimdall. You're right,
and he's
right.
holding a potato instead.
Yes.
Piss
off, Ghost!
Piss off, Ghost! When those eggs. Are those eggs or the protoplasm?
Yeah.
It's so disgusting. It's disgusting.
Okay, so Merry and Pippin. I'm thinking we make Topaz 2 characters.
We keep on doing this.
But that's who they are. Like,
which one is Topaz? His like
his right hand.
Prisoners with jobs.
Yes.
Yeah, I guess that's right. Because I can't think of any other characters that are prominent enough.
Like, do we make Merry Topaz and Pippin Doctor Strange?
Oh, Doctor Strange is in it. God. No, Hugo Weaving's Doctor Strange.
Hugo Weaving's Doctor Strange, and then Christopher Lee is Odin.
Oh, and then who's Scourge?
Scourge, I'm fine with Scourge saying Carl Urban.
Okay, great. Okay, fantastic. That's fair. No, do you not make Merry Pippin like 2 of the friends that get killed right up at the top, or the 2 girls?
They're the Warriors 3. Like,
yeah.
and it's so funny because they really brought back Ray Stevenson and
just to get killed,
and Zachary Levi for the hey stab. Okay.
It's actually sad. If I were them, it's so unceremonious. But just do that with them and get them killed.
Because, like, I can't remember. I think Zachary Levi's in the first Thor as Fandral, and then gets recast for Thor 2 when Fandral. Oh no, okay, so he's not in the first one. He got recast because of like some scheduling issue. Then he came back for Thor 2 because he was supposed to be, and then he gets killed in the third one, which is hilarious.
Actually sad. As an actor, I just feel really sad for them. But I think you cast them as the first 2.
I like that.
Hela deaths. Yeah, Hugo Weaving as Doctor Strange, though. There's no other casting.
That's good. That's good stuff. All right, are we missing anybody?
Well, I mean, if we want to... Well, yeah, we're missing Legolas, and we're missing...
No, Legolas is Heimdall.
Oh, it's Heimdall, correct. But then we are missing Gimli.
Gimli is Surtur. Like
the podcast, it's perfect.
John Rhys-Davies as that voice, the same voice like Clancy Brown, who's an amazing actor. Like,
perfect.
That's perfect.
It's perfect. Good job. Now run down the list and make sure we got it.
All right, so Aragorn, Viggo Mortensen is Thor. Sean Bean as Boromir is Loki. Cate Blanchett stays the same. I'm going off the IMDb right here.
Yeah.
Bruce Banner Hulk is Elijah Wood. Frodo. Heimdall is Legolas. The Grand Master is Ian McKellen. Valkyrie is... Oh, who do we have as Valkyrie? Miranda Otto. Carl Urban as Scourge stays the same. Odin is Christopher Lee. Doctor Strange is Hugo Weaving. Korg is Sean Astin. Topaz, the Grandmaster's right-hand woman, is... we
didn't cast that, no. Because we moved Merry and Pippin over.
That's right. So who do we want there?
No, you do. You put Liv Tyler.
Liv Tyler, okay. Liv Tyler. Surtur is John Rhys-Davies.
So good.
And Volstagg and Fandral are Merry and Pip.
So, chef's kiss. This was good casting.
And then Hogan, who is the last Warriors 3 that like faces off with her, is Evangeline Lilly.
Jesus Christ.
I love casting Evangeline Lilly because it pisses Jessica off so much. Or, it could be Lee Pace. If you want to put in Lee Pace, put in Thranduil in there. Talk about an Asgardian. Good God.
We should do...
It's one of my favorite like TikTok clips of just like the behind the scenes where it's just like, usually actors are small and you have to like costume them, and then you have Lee Pace come in with his broad 6'3" shoulders, and you're like, yes.
He's just too pretty. I have to rewatch.
Honestly, him as Thor, I could see it. Him as Loki or Thor, honestly.
Loki, 10 out of 10. All right, Ben,
okay,
this
Jessica,
is...
we're still recording. Loki. Gone.
All right. You caught me slipping.
A little bit. Oh my God. Woo!
He's my hall pass. What do you want? Alex called Cate Blanchett his mistress, so that made me want to die a little bit.
That's fair.
So we have one more left, right? We have Hugo Weaving. Oh no, we have Billy Boyd.
I mean, that's the thing. Like we've got Billy Boyd. He's the last Fellowship member, but Cate Blanchett's not in the Fellowship. We can do Hugo Weaving. We can do Carl Urban. We've got a few more if we want to do them.
Well, I think we should round out the Fellowship. Finish out with Billy Boyd. Finish out really before we get into the Rings of Power.
Yeah.
And we were given some suggestions as to actual movies he was in, including like Seed of Chucky or something like that. So we might have to end up watching that as opposed to Grey's Anatomy, because I think that is a better watch.
Do we want to combo anything? Like put Carl Urban in there because he's got, Dread. He's got Star Trek.
I think we have to do him on his own once we're done with Rings
and like
of
Hugo
Power.
Weaving's obviously got like the Matrix and stuff like that. So
I think we got to do those separately.
For sure.
Especially when we're grasping for content.
I love grasping for content.
It's like the best. So if you haven't heard already, Rings of Power returns on August 29th, 2024, and they are dropping 3 episodes simultaneously. And Ben and I are going to be adjusting our Podcast of the Rings schedule accordingly so that it could come out almost instantly after the episodes drop. So you're going to expect our recaps of each episode the next day.
Yes.
As soon as possible.
We're going to, for the first 3 episodes, like 29th, I don't know what Jess's schedule is, but we'll do like one a day. So we'll get like an episode that entire weekend, guys. And then after that, it'll be the day after.
I would really like you guys to sign up for Patreon to pay me for this
yes,
work. It'd be really great. If you enjoy us in some way, if you're still listening, even a $2 early access Patreon membership goes a long way to support us and show us that you like what we're doing. Ben and I are going to start dramatically reading insane YouTube comments we've gotten. So if you want to be that, please post a paragraph.
Yeah. Let's
do
go.
That. Let's go. So that's going to be one of the things we're going to start offering on Patreon, perhaps.
We're going to do more trailer reactions and talk over them constantly.
I realize that our content's not for everybody, but when you start judging as to whether we're authentically caring about this or not, I think that's when I start to take umbrage with a person's
I don't
opinion.
do fake reactions. I would have sat here stone-faced if I didn't like the trailer. That Arondir moment actually got me. It actually worked.
It got both of us.
Yeah.
And also, I don't want to... Anyway, you're entitled to your opinion. We welcome feedback. We just want it to be delivered constructively, as some of you did. Anyway, do join our Patreon at the $5 tier for free 7 days, and then you get to enjoy our Game of Thrones podcast, aka
Woo! Podcast
of Thrones, that will be eventually. We'll take the Tuesday release slot that we normally release Podcast of the Rings until the season 2 of Rings of Power is over. So the best way to keep track of what's getting released when and free and not free and all that is by joining our Patreon. You can also join that for free. It's www.patreon.com/Podcast of the Rings. If they're watching us on YouTube or listening on their preferred podcast player, Ben, what should our Fellowship friends be doing?
Also follow us on social, guys. That's another way to make sure you're not late to the episodes or anything like that.
Yeah.
You're constantly watching with us, and that's what we want. We want to discuss
And
these
we're
episodes.
funny on there.
We're really funny. Like
We are.
we post the dank memes.
We do.
But yes, if you're on YouTube, leave us a comment, leave us a thumbs up, guys. Your engagement really, I honestly love reading, our last 2 trailer reactions have done really well for a small channel like us, and 95% of them were positive, and the other 5% were hilariously terrible
weird.
trolls. Like,
We're weird. Dongs of Woker will forever be.
Like, I'm so tempted. If we could get away with that and be a popular podcast, that would be the name of the podcast going forward.
You know what? I think maybe something we could offer on one of the Patreon tiers is like if we were people that believed this was Dongs of Woker, and like we're not going to be racist, we're not going to be sexist, but we're going to be like totally too critical.
Yes.
Like I don't want to cosplay as those, incels, but I do want to like
It's
pretend. I think I don't.
Really fun.
That's why I have an alt account, bro.
Yeah, it's so great. But yeah,
Rage
and
bait.
if you're on if you're listening to us while you're driving, we really appreciate it. When you are done driving or want to pull over real quick, give us 5 stars. Make sure you hit the download button. We just reached 10K downloads, which is awesome, guys. We really appreciate all of y'all. And with this new season starting, it's just the beginning. I'm so excited for this new season, and I'm ready. I like the countdown. This is August 19th when we're recording this. The countdown is on 10 days.
It's
so
pretty
excited.
Friggin' exciting. Ben, I love doing this podcast with you. I love all the engagement you folks bring with us, whether it's on Discord, whether it's on YouTube, whether it's on Twitter or Instagram. This is a good time. And until next time,
May our paths meet again.
Just land in a nice and slow.